Well, folks, the robot overlords are here. Now, a couple years ago, if someone made that statement, you would think that's a hyperbolic. It's sensational. What is this crazy man thinking? But now, as I found out, and the rest of Americans are finding out, it's pretty true as we're finding out that robots are now deciding who gets hired and who gets fired at one of the largest corporations in the United States. No, we're not kidding you. We just found out that Amazon automatically tracks and fires its warehouse workers for, quote, the reason of efficiency and productivity from a company that created what many people call the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos. And I have to question that productivity and efficiency when we're getting stories connecting Amazon to conditions akin to sweatshops, hearing about horrible situations of mental stress, of workplace injuries, of workers having to pee in bottles to be as productive, to what we're finding out not be tracked, traced, and fired by robotics that keep a track on everything that they are doing. And of course, many people are praising this. But again, robots right now are deciding who gets a job based on performance algorithms. The robots decide who gets fired. The software and algorithms are used to screen, hire, assign, and now terminate workers at Amazon. And to me, Jason, this is terrifying. This is absolutely scary to see the reality of the world's richest man using computers to his way to literally not only fire just people he doesn't want working for him or as efficient, who don't have the human touch, but also get rid of another subject of employees that he has that would be making these tough decisions based on real human reasons. But now all of that is gone. I don't know what other way there is to understand this, but terrifying, Jason.
Yeah, and if you look at these documents, Luke, they even talk about bathroom breaks right here. Don't have a weak bladder at Amazon, let me tell you, folks. And that's why I thought that this year's South Park, the 16 tons, was brilliant, because it really laid it out that you kind of forced your own slavery. And Amazon is taking over, baby. It's only expanding. It's getting bigger. We're going to get into that in another aspect of this story. But again, we were able to actually get the documents. You know, that's I like this Verge article because you can look at it. And folks, when you get down to it, look at all these people that have been fired by the algorithm. Here we go. Boom. This is all for productivity. Termination. Page after page of termination. Oh, am I done? No, I'm not. Termination.
Yeah. A non-human machine deciding if you can make a living, if you could earn a wage. This is insane.
And again, you better start getting a different skill set, because I'm telling you, human beings aren't fit to work here. Look at the little robot right here. It's right here. There it is. It picks up the pallet. It moves the pallet. It brings it to another human. We're very disposable at this point in this consumer-based environment, and especially at these warehouses. So all I can say, Luke, is it doesn't surprise me one bit that they're now using algorithms to fire people, because they're already using robotics for animation. And we've done some stories over the past month or two showing you some of these robots and how advanced they are, the new picker ones. I'm sorry, folks. We've got to change the way we're allowing these people to do business, because they're already over half. Is that correct? I believe over half of all e-commerce right now, Luke.
Yeah, online in the United States, half of e-commerce is with Amazon right now. They are becoming the new Walmart of the modern technocratic day and age, and it's becoming absolutely terrifying when you see how powerful they get. Now, very few people say, hey, this is terrible. This is something we should look out for. This is a slippery slope down to a technocratic nightmare future. Very few people are saying that because Amazon is a very powerful corporation. People are afraid to criticize big powers out there. We're not. We're independent media. But again, I'm watching and reading other market analysis kind of websites, and they're saying, yeah, this is great. The robots, quote, do not care about someone's race. They only care about performance. If you are supposed to handle X packages per minute and you underperform, goodbye. One huge advantage for employees having robots fire people is the process will stop discrimination lawsuits. As a side benefit, companies can get rid of higher paid employees who used to make these decisions. What? Like we're talking about an automated future where, of course, robots will take over human jobs. That's why people are talking about universal basic income. But the way that Amazon is doing is by literally mistreating so many human beings with what people are describing literally akin to sweatshop conditions in these Amazon workshops, where people are literally forced to pee into bottles, miss stop signs to reach their quotas. Because again, these robots don't calculate, hey, someone might be having a rough week, someone might be going through a medical issue, someone might have lost a family member in their in their life to a tragic accident. Something might have severely happened of a scenario, of a situation that doesn't create the right performance or efficiency, but is the morally right thing to do or to understand or to comprehend, that robots now cannot understand. And this is a machine that's becoming so huge that it's going to be irreversible. When we're talking about the automation that's happening, not only with robots moving stuff, but now making management decisions on who is able to work, who is able to not work in a labor force that's it's becoming more and more difficult to find actual jobs where they actually are able to support families. Many families are forced to work multiple jobs. Many families are struggling in the United States. And we have to say a large portion of that. Now, of course, economic times have supposedly increased in the stock market. But when you look at middle America, holy cow, a lot of the labor force has been absolutely obliterated, severed. And this is why there's such an opioid crisis as well. That's one other dynamic. Again, I'm talking in mass generalities here, but Jason, this is something to worry about severely. And seeing the lack of criticism of Amazon only makes me more worried about this kind of doomsday technocratic scenario that's already unfolding and moving a lot faster than I thought it would.
Well, I also want to point out, aside from the e-commerce, they already work huge deals with local governments around the country. In fact, through a company they have called U.S. Communities, they're already in 40 out of 100 of the largest local cities. And guess what? Local government is the second largest business behind manufacturing, and they're in it. And that's since 2017. And guess what? They want a bigger piece, Luke. They're not happy. They want another $500 billion piece in the federal market. Now, that being said, if you look below that, you'll notice that a group representing more than 100 of the largest and most influential companies that do business with the government, I know you love that government, but the 100 largest wrote in a strongly worded 2017 memo, only one or two providers would possess the capability and potential regulatory compliance necessary to participate. Thus, the proposal could result in what? A monopoly or a duopoly, things we don't want because they're already setting the price. So let me talk about the income impact already on local communities. For instance, the government actually ends up paying 10% more when they go through U.S. Communities and Amazon. All right? Now, if those local businesses that were doing business with the government want to stay in, yeah, you can sell to the government through Amazon and their local resellers at a 15% cut. So 15% of their profit is taken away just because Amazon is doing business with that local government. This shows that they are continuing to put that stranglehold economically, not only across the United States, but locally as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, it's absolutely absurd. Why we need anarchy, that's a whole separate discussion. But if you look at Amazon, right? You look at Jeff Bezos, considered one of the world's richest man. The man pays himself around, $86,000 per year. That's what's estimated here. He pays himself the rest in stock so he could avoid more taxes. His company avoids taxes. His company's connected, and he is connected, of course, to the CIA. They stock a lot of the stuff for the Pentagon. They own Whole Foods. They own the Washington Post. This is a conglomerate that has its tentacles in so many different spheres of our existence and in many delicate, terrifying ways where even right now, Oregon, the state of Oregon, is using Amazon's facial recognition technology to try to catch criminals. Again, when we look at what the government has criminalized, historically, it's been asinine, stupid things. Now, of course, there are real bad people in society that they need to go after, and they're doing this quota of efficiency. But this is creating a nightmare scenario where a government could deem a protest group or just anyone resisting them or anyone protesting them as criminal, which they have before. Other countries have gone before. We cover a lot of international news, and we show you just how bad it gets all around the world, because that is the potential of what could happen here if we give so much power to a few individuals. If we centralize power, that power will become abused, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when we're given carte blanche, free way and incentives, and even helping Amazon, the government is helping Amazon to be where it's at right now, and it's already at such a detrimental level to humanity and our freedom. They're working on algorithms and technology that breaks encryption. Like this is your new overlord. This is something to seriously stop incentivizing, because they have 1 day shipping. Sure, it's convenient. Sure, it's easy, but our identities, our images, our voices, our ideas are being tracked, traced, and database, most likely by Amazon, most likely by other private corporations that look at every little detail of our life and then see a way to squeeze the lemon as much as they could to the last drop to extort us for, of course, their own personal benefit and their own personal profit. That's what is ultimately key here, not you, not freedom, not sovereignty, not representative government, because we don't have that. We have government selling you down the river, selling you down to Amazon, and we need to wake up and seriously get the word out there to be more weary, to try to avoid Amazon as much as we can. Or, Jason, it's not a hyperbolic statement anymore. They're seriously taking over all aspects of society and life.
Well, I mean, again, if you actually look at what they're doing with this facial recognition software, again, remember, Bezos in bed with the CIA, Bezos in bed with the media. He has now a system that has over 300,000 mugshots that can take a grainy picture of someone's face captured by a security camera, a social media account, or a deputy's phone, and a link to their identity. In fact, more than 1,000 facial recognition searches by law enforcement last year were logged last year, and they would find results and find, guess what, their Facebook page, visit their home, or make an arrest. So yeah, they're heavy into law enforcement, they're heavy into automation, they're heavy into robotics. What they're not really heavy into is being fair, in giving their workers a livable wage, or even concerned with anything other than their profits. Let's be honest. It's world domination. Bezos looks and acts like a Bond supervillain, Luke. And that's why independent media is important, because a lot of people will kiss that ass, baby. They love that Bezos. And we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be, unfortunately, showing you the dark side. I mean, how many pages of termination notices by an algorithm did you have to see before you got worried, folks? We're putting out 3 videos across 2 platforms every day. Pulse Change and We Are Change. Make sure you're subscribed. Ring that bell. If you can, go to the site, make a donation, maybe even become a YouTube member. I don't know. Your call. Grab a t-shirt at the t-shirt shop. Support independent media and get out there and be the change you want to see in the world.